Guys, it's Maymay, and today we're going to put this mini album together. Now, I showed you in a video how to make this little paper bag card, and then I want to show you today how to turn it into a mini album. I will link the video for this so you can see exactly how to make this card. Once you make this one, that's the page for the whole album, okay? So what I did was I took this one, and I made this one, and I made this one, and then I made this one. And they're a little bit different. I didn't do the tag on the front, but you're welcome to do that. I just kind of did, I showed some of the paper off. And I want to tell you, if you want to, you can turn this into a pocket on the front. So if you want a little more real estate, that's a good place to do that. I didn't, but you can, because I just kind of did all four so I can show you how to turn that into a mini album. So we have all the pages. The other thing I want to tell you to do is this. On this card, we went ahead and put the back on. You can see I've released it from the adhesive because we're going to need that. But don't, if you're going to turn it into a mini album, don't put the back on at first. Go ahead and save that for last. So like these, none of these have the backer piece on. They will, but right now they don't. So that's where you need to be. Your page is made and no backer. Alright, now let's talk about the hinge. Okay, so now it's time to make the marks for the slot binding, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the slot one like we did on the burlap mini album. So here's how you do it. This piece is 2.5 inches wide by 5 5/8 long, and I'm going to score it every 1/2 inch. So I'll start at 1/2 inch, which is not the easiest to do. You got to get your fingers in there, and then 1 inch, 1 1/2, and 2. Okay, so that tells me where to make my slot marks. Now then, my hinges that are going to connect the pages to the binding, they are 5 inches. So you can see that leaves me just about 1/4 inch at the top and the bottom, and that's good. So what I'm going to do is come right here, and I'm going to score in 1/4 inch in on the bottom, and then 1/4 inch in here. That's about 1/4, yeah. Okay. Now, I can see those score marks. I know it's hard for you to see on camera, but I can see them. Now what we're going to do, because this is going to be our slot binding, is we're going to take our hole punch. It doesn't have to be a crocodile. You can use your regular hole punch. Now, everywhere these lines intersect between the vertical and the horizontal, that little X that they make, we're going to punch a hole there. And there's one. This pattern paper makes it easy. Kind of has a pattern in it already. You can take your time on this because you need it to be good, and you have to get those little pieces of paper out of your crocodile. Mine never just fly out. Okay, let's do the top part. So now we have our score lines and we have our holes punched. Now I have a video where I show you how to do this much more in detail, and I will link that below too so you can see that even better than what I'm showing you here. Now what we need to do is slice them. So I have my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to line my ruler up in the center of the hole at the top and the bottom. And I can use either the lines on my paper or the score lines to help me know where to go. And you just slice, starting in the circle and ending in the little hole punch that you made. That way you end up with this. And like I said, I have a video that explains it better. I will link that below. And when you finish, the way we measured, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 places to put pages, and then you'll have extras on the side. Alright, so now we want to do our hinges, and I'm going to move this out of the way. Our hinges are 5 inches by 2.5 inches. And the reason I did that is I'm going to put 1/2 inch into the slot, but I want 2 inches to hold the book because I want it to be very sturdy. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to take our binding pieces and we're going to score them at 2 inches. The reason I'm scoring at 2 inches is because it's easier than scoring at 1/2. I'm still just making a 1/2 inch score to tuck into that slot, but it's much easier to hold on to. Now I'm just going to apply adhesive to the bend. So right past the score line, that'll get adhesive. That's what's going to stick inside our slot area. So now our hinges are ready. Now this part can get fiddly. If you have already made your pages, you may want to go ahead and hinge them before you put them into the slot. That way you're not trying to adhere this book to this bulky piece, you're only going to be putting one piece in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put our hinges on our pages. And here's how this works. So what we'll do here is we'll add adhesive to the inside of the hinge, meaning not where the hinge fold is, to the inside here. And I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'm going to do that to all of them real quick. It'll make this go faster. Okay, so I have it on the front and the back with a piece here for the hinge. I like to do things like that in assembly line because I think it goes much faster. Now, we just want to burnish down all that adhesive. And we're going to release only what is on the inside of the hinge. Okay, so not the hinge itself, just what will be attached to the bag. So the 2-inch section, that's what we're going to release. And only one side, you don't need to release them both yet. Now when you adhere this hinge to your bag, remember, a hinge only works if it has some room. So don't put the line straight where the bag is. Come out just about 1/8 of an inch at the top and the bottom. And just kind of center that. That way your hinge will fold all the way over without any bulk and all the way back. Make sense? Okay. To finish the bags off, I have the backs that I've already cut and inked and added adhesive to. So now I'll just take one of these guys, and you see I've put some adhesive back here. I'm going to release this adhesive. Release this that I have on this bag. On this paper. And then stick it down. I always like to double check and make sure I have everything where it should be. Again here, don't get this near your hinge. Don't get it to block your hinge fold. Just line that up like so. So now your bag has a hinge. See that? And it's hidden in there, but now you have a place to adhere it. So do that to all of them. Oh, and let me show you so you can watch me do this. This is the one that I put the backing down on before I realized I was going to do the mini album. And so I'm just going to release this enough for this guy to fit in there. That's just about right. Now it's not going to be perfectly pretty, but I still want to use this one, and I think this will be alright. You're not going to see any of that once I get this adhered down anyway. I'm going to turn this guy over. Make sure I clear my hinge at the top and the bottom. Stick that in. I don't know why I even try with my fingernails anymore. This makes it so much easier. And then stick this down. Now my adhesive is hanging out just a little bit because this one I had to kind of make up myself. So I'm going to use this little adhesive remover and rub that away. Now I'm just going to tell you, this sticky tape adhesive that I get from Jamie's store and that Mike also sells, it's hard to come off. When you put it somewhere it stays, but if you work at it hard enough with one of those adhesive removers you can make it happen. So I did get it off, but I had to work at it. Okay, let me hinge the last page. Okay, so now you can see I have a hinge on all the pages, and now I want to put them into the binding. So I will move all of them out of the way but one. Now here's something I wanted to do. I want to take on this first one, I'm going to slide it in here real quick and show you. I want this first one to be adhered down inward, okay? I'm not going to wrap it outward because of what I'm going to do for my cover. So I'm going to make sure this one goes inward, and I'll show you the next one that needs to go inward for sure. But the end pages, the exterior pages, I want to make sure that the binders flap to the inside. Again here, make sure that you leave your score mark exposed so that your page can flip completely, okay? I'm going to make sure you do that. Now for these two in the middle, I don't care which way the flap goes. It doesn't even matter to me. So I'm just going to expose this adhesive. I'm going to slide this one in this way. I do think this is easier to do than having to put the bag to the hinge once we've already got it in place. I just think this is a smarter way to go because it's not quite as bulky. Okay, so there's that one down. Now this one, again, I don't care which way this hinge goes. Get that up in there. And then I just need to add my last one. Now for this one, okay, I want to make sure that this hinge comes backwards. Let me show you what I mean. See how I have the adhesive on this side? When I put this into the slot, like so, I'll adhere it this way. So this flap and this flap are free. That does not matter if you're not going to do what I'm going to do for a cover. If you're just going to do any old, your regular cover, then you can just go ahead and let it go the other way. But it will make sense when I show you why I'm doing it. Because I'm going to get creative with cover. Alright, so let's put this in. I'll flip this where I can see what I'm doing. Okay. And just adhere that into place. So you can see our binder is done, okay? And these edges are free, and that's a good thing. I'll show you why in a few minutes. But now our book is bound. See this? How cute is that? Super easy to do. Really not hard. It seems like it because I'm having to show you so many steps, but it's not hard. Now what I want to do, brace yourselves, is I'm going to cut away this free edge of this binder. Do you see how this one is just kind of flying loose and this one's kind of flying loose? I don't need them. I wanted them so that I could get my binding done easy, but now I don't need them. So I'm going to cut them away. I'm just going to come down here and snip. And then snip. Right to the circle. Because I did need them to get my binding done, but for the next part I do not need them. So I'm going to get rid of them. Now if you want to see how you would normally use these, just look at that video that I'm linking below that shows you about this hinge. Okay, so now those are gone. So see, now it's just a nice, clean, straight to the edge binding. So now you're thinking, what are you going to do with that binding? Because it looks really bad, and I agree. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to put a little adhesive on these guys and turn them under. So, let me lay this out like so. Just going to run some adhesive back here like this. These are the little edge flaps that we have. I'm just going to turn them in to get them out of the way, because we don't need them hanging out. This one seems a little confusing. You might have to watch this a couple times for it to make sense. So I'm going to fold that extra piece down, just like so. Then I'm going to fold this piece in too. Just like that. It will be hidden, but for now that keeps it out of our way. Alright, let's do a close-up of that. See what it did? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now it's time to give that edge some stability. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a piece of chipboard. Okay, so I'm going to cut this to 2 inches wide by 5 inches long. This is just a scrap piece from my scrap drawer, so good way to use these up. Now I have this piece, and I'm going to use some of the scraps that I have from just cutting, and I like the way this looks. I think this looks cool. It has the word magical at the bottom there, and I think that looks good, so I'm going to use a piece of that. And I'm also going to use my ink blender, and I'm going to ink these edges that might show. Ignore those lines. That was something I was doing. Obviously I was using this for a binder for something else or something, because that's from my scraps. Don't worry about those. Alright, I'm using adhesive, just liquid adhesive here because I want it to stay really good. Now it looks like I'm squeezing this, but I'm not really squeezing a lot. I'm using the tip to kind of roll this into the edges, because y'all know I don't like to touch glue, right? So I want this glue to go all the way to the edges, all the way around. And I'm scratching it so that it smears it. I am squeezing a little bit, but I'm mostly scratching. Okay. Now I want this word magical at the bottom and centered. That is so cool. Just going to rub that into place. Now, I'm going to cut this away at the top. This is why I inked the top and the bottom. I'm going to wrap the sides, but the top and the bottom I wasn't going to wrap because I wanted that word to show. Okay. So now I'm just going to cut a piece away from here. Alright, now let's use some adhesive and put it on those side flaps. Now I'm just going to pick the paper up and just kind of using the heat from my hand, just work this back and forth and you'll get a really nice clean bend. You can score it, but if you just kind of massage it into place, you'll get a good bend. So you just lift it up and just rub that together till it starts to fold and then just massage it down. So look at our binder. That's cool, isn't it? It has a little graphic that wraps around, but it's still cool. So now this is going to go on here, like so. You see that? So you're going to be able to see the edges of the bag, but we're going to cover that entire piece of binding that we did. And I'm going to do it in a couple of ways, because I'm going to use sticky adhesive and wet adhesive, because I want this to be nice and sturdy. And the sticky will help it stick at first, and then the wet will come back and help. Okay, with this laying flat just like this, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of wet adhesive on here as well, just for extra help. Okay. Now I'm just going to place this on that binder so that it covers our binding and it gives that edge stability. Just work that in nice and strong. Okay, so now you can see that we're hanging off the edge just a tiny bit, and don't worry about that, because what that does is when you sit it down, it gives it a good stability. Because here's what I'm doing. I'm not putting covers or a back on this. I want this to show just like it is. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of people are doing these like paper back albums where they're just using paper for the front and back and not cardstock and not chipboard. And I just think these books, these are so cute by themselves that they don't need anything on front. But we are going to add an embellishment here for stability and to also clean up this look as soon as my hot glue gun heats up. So I'll show you that in a second. In the meantime, there's some spots in here that could use some photo matting. Like these little pockets right here, they need something in there. So I've cut some pieces and we're going to turn them into photo mats, and I'll show you what I did. I measured the pocket and went ahead and cut enough for every single one of those little pockets, and then I went ahead and made enough of these guys to do mats on them. Okay, so I'm just going to use my ATG and put these on. So I'm just going to mat these pages, and this will be a great spot for pictures of your little guys with their costumes on. I think it'll be super cute. So our photo mats are done, and we'll put them into the pockets. Look how cute that is. I love it. So there we go. Photo mat. And remember, we just put this one picture here. But what I would suggest, since you're going to be doing this for a mini album, remember you can put photos here. You might want to go back and make pockets on this side, so you could have another pocket. You can. The possibilities are endless. These can just be where you put photos or whatever. I mean, you can do anything. And the back is even cute without having to have a cover. Alright, let's do that thing I told you I wanted to put right here to finish this off. It is this trim that I have never used. I love it. You see the roses and the pearls in it? I just think it's so pretty. And I think it will be so pretty hot glued right here just to finish that off. I'll cut that loose. Bring my hot glue over. And I'm going to use a good bit of hot glue. Because like I said, I'm not putting a cover. I just decided that I want to try this. I think this bag is so cute. This is how I did it, to keep from having to do a cover. But you can do a cover if you like. You just look online. You'll find plenty of tutorials for making mini album covers. But for me, I think this is really cute. So there's the front. Doesn't that look precious? And now let me do the back. Same thing, just going to stick a piece here. You could do this part with anything you have in your stash. It could be you could do a fabric piece here. You could do ribbon. You could do any kind of embellishment here. I just think this really binds it all together. Just like that. So there it is. I'm going to zoom you in. Okay, so here it is. What do you think with no cover? I know it sounds strange, but I've seen some people lately doing it with paperbacks. I mean, like a paperback book where they're just making pockets and turning them into the covers. And I thought, this is so cute. I just don't want to cover it up. And it's so easy to do it this way. And because it's a Halloween album, it just, I don't know, it's perfect for that. And it looks and feels like it has a cover, but it doesn't. And it's nice and sturdy. I love it. Let me know what you think. All right, let's do a flip through. Ready? Okay, so this is the first card we made. And you can open that up and see the inside in our photo mat. We have tags at each one of these because this is how we did the card. There's another flip through. Isn't it cute? I think it works. And I love that because, man, that is so super easy. All right, let me know what you think. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but I hope you guys learned something from this, even if it's not this album. Maybe you didn't enjoy the way I bound it, but let me know because I think this is neat. All right, guys, have a great one, and I will see you on Wednesday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.